Hey, welcome back to our third segment with Dr. Debbie Ozment. You know, just before the break last week, we didn't get you her contact information again, so we need to do that now. DrDebbieOzment.com. We need to come up with a cool nickname for you, Debbie. DrDebbieOzment.com. She really wants you to find her with a URL like that. DrDebbieOzment.com. And gosh, Adam, we're back with Debbie Ozment again.
Yeah, we left off with a cliffhanger last
week. We did. You were wanting to know some practical things that individuals can do at home. And then after that, just to tease our people a little bit, we're going to talk about a particular bacteria that's already been brought up. I think it was actually brought up as a commensal bacteria, one that can be actually beneficial, kind of neutral in the body until it gets out of control. And they're making some unique connections to some very serious disease conditions. And we're going to move down that road right after Debbie tells us, hey, what can I do at home? I heard you say on an interview one time that you kind of reward your patients with certain things to do at home. But we were on probiotics too. Debbie, you made a discovery about oral probiotics. And when I say oral, I mean oral as in melt in your mouth oral, not swallowing them into your gut. Can you talk about that and then go into your kind of at-home stuff for us?
Yes. My husband and I developed these oral probiotics. They were excellent. At this juncture in time, we can't get all the raw ingredients. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. And but it really works. It puts the good stuff back.
And you can find those in different strains out there. A couple of them I've looked at times with.
You want to look for something that produces bacteriocins. These are like natural.
I've never heard of that.
Bacteriocins, and those are natural antibiotics. They don't, they're not bad antibiotics. They don't annihilate everything.
These are molecules that bacteria use in order to regulate their microenvironment.
Yes, they're usually Strep salivarius.
Strep salivarius.
And certain species.
Your patients had a nickname for your oral tablets.
Oh, they call them the bad breath tablets. Right, I need some bad breath tablets, Debbie.
Because it would literally change the bacteria in their mouth, and all of a sudden, bye-bye halitosis.
Yeah,
right?
think of, it's like Adam said, it's this environment, it's this soil that from which everything grows, and it starts in the mouth.
It's so fascinating.
And I think that when you say something, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
When you say, what can people do? I think number one, take heart. Number one, we are designed to heal. So don't stress over it. I mean, stress is like the worst thing you can do.
Right.
And then number two, I always tell my patients, let's do addition before subtraction. So what can you add? How hydrated are you? How much whole food fiber are you eating every day?
Now you're doing the one bite of the apple at a time.
It's one thing.
People can do that.
They can.
And like you said, it's not you're taking everything away from you. It's just like start doing some good things and you'll see changes, right?
Right. You can't do everything at once. You have to just really, what I call the start somewhere process. So we really start with of course hydration. I help people with sleep strategies. We talk about movement, functional movement, doing something fun, finding something fun to do. And they have to be so intentional about these things. I mean, it's not easy to stay hydrated.
So you're not just talking about oral health strategies, brushing your teeth and flossing, and making sure that you got no food reservoirs between your teeth.
Right.
You're talking about sleep.
It's lifestyle.
It's full body health, and that's what really matters. It's our whole system. It's really body, soul, and spirit that keeps people healthy. I saw people in my practice. I'll never forget a woman who had this giant heartache in her family. She was healthy before that. After that, she developed cancer and she was dead within about a year and a half.
Oh.
And it's not just food. It's not just eat greens and drink water and you're going to have this long life. It's relationships. And I think that's the key. These are our relationship vehicles. So this is, it's relationships that matter. Number one.
Adam pulled up a study while we were doing a radio podcast the other day that was a Harvard study, and they were trying to figure out longevity things and what gave people the quality of life, and it all came down to relationships, right,
Exactly.
Adam?
Yeah.
It was these interactions that we have with that close nucleus of people that
It is.
that's love back and forth type thing. I've heard you talk about ozonated oil before. I've heard you
that's
talk
so
about
interesting.
super gut. Tell us about these things that again are really easy and practical things that someone can take away from the broadcast today, and they can start doing these things and notice a difference. You talk about vitamin D, ozone, and
So there's one study I read recently, and this might be also a segue into what you're talking about, that showed that for every 10% of processed foods that you have in your diet, the risk of dementia went up by 4%.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so
See it all the time.
Processed foods being something that we're taking into our body that's also predisposing us to a certain biome, these are all decisions that we make that all contribute to our overall health. So I just wanted to bring that up as a background.
No, it's a great point, Adam, because people who are used to driving through and getting dinner, they're not going to suddenly start cooking. So I'll tell people, figure out what you're doing and just decrease it 5%.
Right.
For a month, 5%.
Make one healthy move.
One healthy move. If you want to have dessert, that's great. Cut it in half. And
Interesting.
eat it slowly. Enjoy it. Savor
Don't
it.
stuff it down.
If people stuff it, they feel guilty, and then they just,
And then they purge it.
and then they go, oh, then they're like so sorry they ate it. No, and I tell people, if you're going to eat it, enjoy it. Don't regret it.
Absolutely. There you go. So again, I want to spend about 5 minutes. We've got about 6 minutes left. I do want you to mention the supergut and ozonated oil. We're going to move into this fusel bacteria and its connection to some very serious diseases and the amazing research that you've been discovering about that. So what is ozonated oil, and what is the supergut thing that you do with people?
Well, I sort of fell into I read the book Supergut.
Okay.
Actually, I gave it to a couple of my
and
best
so you
friends.
recommend people reading that book,
in
right?
fact, I really, it's kind of like
It's a
required.
life changer,
It's
right?
kind of retired
Okay.
required reading.
Gotcha.
And I've gotten to know Dr. Davis
Nice.
really well. He's just so, impressive and concerned with helping people be healthy. So I've actually started making this yogurt. Mike jokes it's my yogurt ministry. So
I love
so I'm
making yogurt.
handing off this yogurt to people. It's a fermented yogurt, and that's the difference. It's a 36-hour fermentation. So when you buy yogurt in the store, like maybe the beneficial microbes have doubled a couple of times.
Right.
But in a 36-hour fermentation, they doubled 12 times.
Nice.
So
Oh
think
my
So
about
gosh.
it's mostly bacteria in there. at that
so
point.
it's just delicious. And so think
it?
about when you were a little kid and your dad said, would you rather have $1 million or
A penny double.
penny that doubles every
a month.
day? You
For a
know?
month.
That's it, Josh.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, I mean, my dad was he was always like making us think of those kinds of things. And so it's the same philosophy. In other words, you have this boom, you have all these beneficial bacteria. Well, Supergut yogurt has really helped heal a lot of people of SIBO, small intestinal bowel overgrowth,
Nice.
which is the genesis of so many problems and so much discomfort, bloating, and name it. All the things that hurt relationships.
And ultimately, can be mental issues and all kinds
Absolutely.
of things. I mean,
And
the
messes
gut-brain
up
connection
sleep.
is so crazy.
Exactly, and you hear about, you think about all the people that are constipated. My big joke now, if someone's in a bad mood, I say, well, just give them a break, give them grace, they're constipated. And,
Here, have your
Sorry.
senna leaf tea. It's fine.
no, that's right, because they're probably constipated. Seriously, if they're not working on their gut intentionally, it's not going to be healthy because there's just so many things in our environment.
We are so naive. We are so naive. You know Lou Phillips? Have you met Lou Phillips?
No.
Oh, he's a naturopathic doc. He owns Meridian Avenue Nutrition here in town. He tells the story that at 8 years of age, he was given penicillin to treat an infection, and on the day he got that, he went into a deep depression and hated life for 40 years because it killed his microbiome.
And then who we were discussing off air, Dr. Haglund is the one that introduced him to how to populate his gut and start taking 5-HTP, and he literally woke up to life after 40,
40
years
years.
of living hell,
And now he's
loves
a happy
life
man.
and everything. So anyway, okay, we've got about 3 minutes left. Let's take a detour into this fuselbacteria, because when I heard you sharing about this and your research on it, it's fascinating, and the connection is just amazing.
Well, it's that bacteria that we can test for, and it starts in the mouth and it translocates to the gut. It's a bridge bacteria that makes other things worse. I say it's sort of like the bully in the class when they get too much. It's also the mother-in-law. I'm not making a big connection there, but nevertheless, this. When I did my TED Talk, a researcher from Germany started writing to me, and he's done a lot of research in terms of colon cancer and Fusobacterium. That launched my curiosity into learning more. Well, now there are articles everywhere. If I could have the listeners take away one thing, it is that if Fusobacterium is high in the mouth and it has translocated and colonized in the gut, which it has in many, many sick people.
And there's some simple tests for that?
Simple
for
tests.
Someone?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very simple
What
test.
would they ask their doctor if they wanted to do a test?
They
for
would
this?
probably need to go to a functional medicine doctor and
Okay.
ask for a GI map.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
And there are other tests. There's one called Gut Zoomer. That's a new test. It's really good. But the interesting thing
This sounds
is-
like it's the foundation for wellness. If you haven't done a GI map and you don't understand what's
Yes.
going on with your microbiome, you really haven't started your journey to health.
I 100%
Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say, and that's the one I'm familiar with. There are others, but if you haven't figured out based on DNA, which is very stable, what's going on, then, and it's not crazy expensive. I mean, these things,
so
are
how
getting.
much does the GI map cost?
I'm thinking it's probably about $500. I mean, that's a lot of money, but not considering what you find out, not considering what you spend on
Right.
an illness.
Yeah,
So-
you have a potential
this is the-
roadmap to completely eliminate so much suffering in your life.
So
by
this is
getting that
this is
done.
the DNA profile of your
Yes.
microbiome.
Yes, it also will show you Giardia. It'll show all kinds of oral pathogens, H. pylori,
So
C. diff.
it's your poop, right?
It is. It's
Yeah,
a
it's
poop
a
test.
stool sample.
It's
Yeah.
a simple poop test, and
Not a simple poop test. I mean, if
well,
it's,
you just have to poop into a tater tot container. You'll probably never eat tater tots again,
Right.
but that's okay.
So we've got about 45 seconds left before break, so continue.
Oh, so the big thing I want people to know is this Fusobacterium, when it colonizes in the gut, will inactivate some chemotherapeutic agents.
Oh, no.
So someone who's getting chemotherapy for colon cancer is generally getting treated with 5-fluorouracil, also called 5-FU. Well, there is tons of research showing that Fusobacterium nucleatum will absolutely inactivate 5-fluorouracil. I have seen it over and
so
over.
you have to
and
treat
over.
the Fusobacterium first before you can get any kind of expectation out of
Yes,
the chemo.
I've seen patients who we treat it in the mouth, we treat it in the gut, and suddenly their chemo starts working. Whoa!
Okay, you are listening to Ultra Life today. We're
So
having a
fascinating.
riveting conversation with Dr. Debbie Ozment. And Debbie, by the way, is also a Mayo health coach. She's been through so many certifications, and she's someone you can actually get a hold of through Zoom and talk to her, because some of you are not taking notes, you're driving in your car right now. You can get a hold of her at DRDEBBIE, that's Dr. Debbie Ozment, OZMENT.com, DrDebbieOzment.com. You're listening to Ultra Life today. I'm Josh Bellew. We're here with Dr. Debbie Ozment and
Adam Payne over here, and we'll be right back. Our mission is to take nature's most beloved botanicals and enhance them with our liquid protein scaffold technology. This helps it reach your cells faster and better. With exponentially enhanced bioavailability, you'll feel better every day. Ultra Botanica, the feel-good curcumin.
you're listening to Ultra Life today, and things just got a little bit cozier in our studio because we kicked my good friend Adam Payne right out to do some other things. We're here with Dr. Debbie Ozment again. I want to give you her contact information before we move back into this interview. DRDEBBIE Ozment, that's OZMENT.com, DrDebbieOzment.com. You can get a hold of her. You can learn a lot of things from her. She does personal health coaching, and this background that she has in the whole connection between oral health, the gut health, the brain, and overall health is just fascinating. I heard you on another interview, Debbie. You were talking about post-mortem examinations of brains. Tell me about that one, because when I heard that, I thought, wow. And that was a while back, right?
Yes, you probably are referring to a 2012 study of post-mortem brains. 10 had died with no memory loss. 10 had died with significant memory loss, suspected Alzheimer's disease. Of the people with memory loss, 40% had the presence of this oral bacteria that we talked about, Porphyromonas gingivalis, PG, in those brains. Now, 40% doesn't sound high, but what's interesting is in the 10 brains that the people had died with no memory loss, it was 0% of Porphyromonas gingivalis.
Wow.
So that's, to
Strong
me,
connection.
what
Strong
really
correlations,
matters.
right?
And there's been a lot more studies. I just pulled up a study this morning at home, a 2023 study, and they're just continuing to study Porphyromonas gingivalis. It's related to all kinds of neurological problems, including Parkinson's disease, just lots of things that are on the rise.
So this is Dr. Debbie Ozment we've been listening to talking about oral health. I want you to look up her TED Talk online. She did this, and I didn't get to see it live, but I've watched it and shared it with a number of people. She did it out at University of Central Oklahoma, right?
Right.
And it's a TED Talk on her, and it was your thesis paper that you wrote called The Forgotten Orifice, right?
The same name, yes.
Right, yeah. Very awesome, controversial name. Me as a marketing guy, darn, I wish I'd thought of that one. That is so very good. So anyway, Debbie, I heard through someone very near and dear to you, your own husband, a few years back, that you had a unusual situation take place. You know, a lot of medical professionals in Oklahoma City. A medical professional, I believe, was actually testing out a new type of test. Is that a good way to say that?
Yes.
Tell us about that and the surprise that happened, and then your journey from that point in time.
My good friend, Dr. Amy Darter, she's an immunologist. We walk and talk, and so one day she said, "I'm getting a new deep dive test in my opening a lab, one of 7 labs in the United States, that's going to see how young people's immune systems are.
Oh,
so I would
wow.
like to use
the biological age of your immune system?
Yeah, sort
That's
of, but
so cool.
it tests for all kinds of things. That was,
Okay.
the brief form. And so she said, I want to use you because at the time I was 62, this has been about 2 years ago, and she said, you don't take medicine.
You got a
walk-
pretty clean diet.
Yeah,
you exercise,
you know,
right?
let's see how young your immune system is.
Okay.
And me being someone whose cup overfloweth, I was like, maybe I'm, 50, 40, 30, what if, and so just so excited. So she was using me kind of as her media person, or my case.
Right.
So we did the blood draw, and then they took pictures and all this stuff. And then I didn't hear. And I was like, any news on that test? And she texted me and said, call me immediately. So I told Mike, I don't think this is good.
Oh,
and
wow.
So anyway, we verified the testing. Sure enough, the test found that I have early chronic lymphocytic leukemia, known as CLL.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interesting thing, Josh, is that all my blood numbers are normal. The only thing that was a teeny bit out of where I'd want it to be, out of optimal, was my A1C, my measure of the average blood glucose over 3 months, and it was 5.5. So it was still in the good, the normal range,
Fairly
but
normal.
not in what I would consider the optimal range. I'd like to see it around 5.1.
Okay.
So, but everything else was great, and I feel great. So, Dr. Darter referred me to an oncologist who read my blood results and who read the immunology test, and literally he wrote me an email that says, "I don't want to see you till you're sick."
Okay.
So-
now I've got to ask you, was the oncologist that you saw one that is open to the integrative and functional medical approach, or was it pretty narrow paradigm?
Well,
think?
it's someone who's got an excellent reputation. I really can't speak to that.
Okay.
Because I guess in my world, I totally see early intervention as a no-brainer.
Right.
I mean, it's not even.
It's just the
it's-
right lifestyle choices, literally
Like
longevity, health, happiness, right?
Exactly. It's like, having a few termites in your house and you're going to wait till your wall falls down. It's not even. It doesn't even compute with me, Josh.
Right.
So
It's not a bonfire at this point in time. It's just a kitchen match somebody struck, and you can blow it out if you make some choices,
if we
right?
know what to do.
Okay.
So
what
she, it was like, I'm so sorry that was so crude, Debbie. And I said, well, really, in his, defense, he doesn't have options. But God has prepared me for this. I, went back to school years ago and have all these. I know what to do. So I've embarked on
So how did it
experiment.
How did it hit you? Did it hit you more as a challenge? Did you view it as a speed bump in the road? But that's all it was, just a speed bump, and here we go.
That's a great question.
Because I just wonder. I mean, we all get these different news. You pick up the phone, something's happened to a child, a friend, a loved one, and we go through that kind of period of mourning, and sometimes we turn it inward and we kind of become a victim for a day or two or a week, or in my case, longer. But anyway, how did you process it?
I think my personality is maybe a little overboard toward this is all good news. I can now. I think I'm a little bit too much in that arena. So initially I was just like, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. And so, I started thinking, what might help. And even though we were already living you can always get better.
Right.
So anyway, it's bottom line, Josh, it's been an adventure. I mean, who else would say CLL's been an adventure? But it kind of is, because
Right.
I mean, now if I had not been in this functional medicine integrative space, then I would be like, watch and wait.
It would have been
Just wait,
scary,
just
wouldn't
wait
it?
for something to what's behind this rock, what's going to happen.
Right.
But it's not scary. It's really not scary, because I know our bodies are designed to heal. I've been making some changes which we don't have time to talk about, but just some really pretty small things. I've been working on my blood sugar, and I've been doing some ozone. There's several things I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm taking UltraCur. I'm doing that protocol that
Right.
Joe Tippins recommends.
Yep.
And I got retested 1 year and 3 months after my initial diagnosis. Originally, my monoclonal B cells, which are the bad cells of chronic lymphocytic leukemia, were 2%. Normally, someone doesn't have symptoms till they're in the teens.
Okay.
But now I'm at 1%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've
Yeah.
effectively cut that by 50%.
Yeah.
That is.
I want to give hope. I just want to tell
Yeah.
people there's hope. It doesn't matter what it is you're dealing with. Our bodies are designed to heal. We have to figure out, we have to give them, we have to live by design. Give them what helps them heal.
You're listening to Dr. Debbie Ozment. You can reach her at drdebbieozment.com. That's DRDEBBIEOZMENT.com. This is Ultra Life Today. I'm Josh Bellew. Adam Payne got called away briefly, so he doesn't get to enjoy Debbie's company for this last segment. We've got about 3.5 minutes left. Debbie, a very dear friend of mine, I watched him quietly bring people through their cancer journey. He's a brilliant guy. He has a variety of different tools in his toolbox. He's not even a conventionally trained physician. He is self-taught. And one of the things that I learned from him, and I really just got that from you just now, was he looks at cancer and he says, no, not a capital C. It's a lowercase c. It's something that we can easily deal with. And, just hearing somebody say that is so different oftentimes to what we hear in the conventional paradigmed world, where that doctor has very specific tools, and as you know, has a lot of side effects associated with those. I had a sister that recently passed away, a long journey, very quick, triple negative breast cancer thing, developed
sorry.
almost overnight, 5 months, she was gone. And the silver lining was that my brother and I got to spend a ton of time with her and be with her and serve her, but we really miss her, and she wasn't open to the integrative and functional approach. To her, it was like, what is that?
Right.
Doctors are doctors. They know what to do. If my doctor doesn't know about it, and that's not the case, is it?
No, it's not the case. There's really, the more you learn, the more you know. You don't know, at least
Yeah,
for me.
you were armed with knowledge, and I think that, like I said, for you, as a small speed bump, maybe you're not at all. It was just like, okay, we're going to tackle this.
Well,
and we've got tools,
It's also our humanity. I mean, I think it's so key to live in view of eternity.
right?
Even though you're doing everything the best you can, it doesn't mean something might not happen. So I think it's really a call to all of us to live our life to the fullest. Make sure we understand that we're necessarily going to die, and we're prepared to meet God. And so, it's life.
Yeah,
It's just
you
life.
said something so cool, and this is one of my little mantras. I even have a little teaching I do on it called Living for Deferred Joy. It's always the one day when I have enough money, or one day when I've got that house or that car or that husband or that wife or college degree. And it's always the carrot that's just out in front of us. And we're never living in the moment, taking advantage of the joy, the peace, the presence of God in each moment as it unfolds. And when we're living in that place, we can receive from people and we can serve our fellow man so much better.
Oh, Josh, thank you. If I had a moment to tell you something that happened when I was in dental school,
Okay.
I had some neighbors, I'm going to call them Lil and Bill, and they saved their money, didn't go anywhere to buy this big, RV. And he retired. They bought this big RV. It was one of those, it's the long silver ones. What are the
Airstream.
Airstream, yes. So he's out polishing it, had a heart attack, and died. They never got to take a trip in their RV. And it made such an impact on me. So consequently, I mean, Mike and I, if this car slows down, we jump in. So I would,
Living
don't
in the
wait.
zone. That
Yeah,
is
don't
right.
wait to do what you want to do. Don't wait to say what you want to say. Today's
Well,
the time.
Obviously, our listeners are going to want to have you back. We'll get popular demand for that, I know, Debbie. So it's so nice having you here again. I'm Josh Bellew. This is Ultra Life Today. And Vitality Made Simple. Is that a podcast?
It is.
It is.
Join me.
So Vitality Made Simple, so that you don't have to remember how to spell Dr. Debbie Ozment's name and website. Vitality Made Simple. Go look up Dr. Debbie Ozment. This is Josh Bellew with Ultra Life Today. We're going to say goodbye to Dr. Debbie Ozment for now. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you.